Dining with Stars, the book that we are here to celebrate, features Anu's most special interviews, including some by her colleague Sneha at Film Companion, which is, of course, with us in a new avatar, Film Companion Studios. And what they managed to do is tell the story through candid conversations behind India's biggest superstars and captured a cinema and entertainment industry in transition, in motion, in movement, and how it's grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Dining with Stars is a truly, truly special book, and I'm very glad I had the opportunity to edit and publish this. I am Chirag Thakker with Bloomsbury India, and of course, over the next 25 odd minutes, we're going to have an exciting chat, involve some FC family that's also here, and our peers, friends, everyone that's
There's
taken
lots
the
of
effort.
FC family.
Right. So Anu, tell us about the last decade and the Film Companion story. A lot of us are insiders, some of us have been witnesses, and some of us have seen you from the sidelines do amazing, brilliant work with FC. What has this story been, and what has also changed in this decade for you?
So before I do that, hey, my mom's here, yay!
Hello, welcome.
So, guys, hello, thank you all for being here. I want to tell you why I asked Karan to be here this evening, because when Film Companion shut down, he wrote the sweetest, most emotional note about how, even though he didn't agree with everything we said, he was very behind how democratic the process was and how we talked about everything. And so I felt like you really encapsulated, I don't know if others felt that way, but you did. And that was important.
He was a true friend of Film Companion.
Of Film Companion, even though I have to tell you, we were not always kind to Karan. But he was just... He was so lovely and so sort of evolved about our criticism. So I felt like he would be the perfect person to be here to launch this book, which is about Film Companion, which was really a piece of my heart. And there's so many people here who really, really created it and built it. And Mohini there, and Sneha here, and Rahul, and Veer, and all these guys just really helped us to make that place shine. So it was very special, and also very special to have these two share the stage with me.
And what's changed from when you founded Film Companion? And
Everything.
Everything has changed. Tell us a little bit about it, no?
Everything's changed, Chirag. It's a much, much more difficult landscape to function in. Rahul and I know that. It's also much more controlled, it's much more sanitized. I'm speaking here of Hindi cinema. But the movies are still lovely. And the great thing is that we're now so much more talking about movies from across India, which is lovely because there's such great work being done everywhere. So those are the most amazing things. And of course, streaming happened. When we started Film Companion, streaming hadn't happened. Bahubali hadn't happened. So I'm very proudly say Film Companion was pan-India before Bahubali. So, but all of it has changed.
Lovely. Karan, how do you look at the Film Companion story, and also peers who've been kind to you, unkind to you, but fair in their criticism, and how have you taken Film Companion journey, Anu's journey, in how they've reviewed movies, work you've put out?
So, good evening, everyone. It's a very complicated relationship, really, of that between a filmmaker or an artist and a critic. I've grown to realize over the years, where you've thrown your tantrums when you were younger, when you made a friend and then they wrote something that wasn't complimentary, and then it's hurtful to read, harsh words about your film, because you get attached to your film and, you love what you've done, and even if you've erred and you've made mistakes and it may not be the best film, or it may be a really bad film as well, it feels very hurtful to read it. Then you go through that journey and it's cathartic to kind of realize that nobody walks into a film, especially a well-meaning journalist, and I'd like to believe that Film Companion was full of very well-meaning journalists with opinions, with sometimes harsh opinions, but they were well-meaning journalists. None of them walked in to hate you or hate your film. They may have then hated the film. And then, and then they'll write things, and then you'll in that moment get hurt, and then you'll throw a tantrum and you'll be upset. And then you realize much later, with age comes a certain pause and comes a certain kind of maturity for you to realize that none of them really wanted to hate you or your film. And they just did it because that's their job, to critique a film. And I realized that Anu, who has been a friend for many years, and I think her appreciation ratio to my work may have been like 42%. Like she's liked, and about 58 she hasn't. And I think I'm being kind to myself when I give myself 42% of positivity. But I've grown to realize that she has actually always walked in to love my film. And I remember, I'm like, when you hate on a critic, like because they haven't liked you, then why do you get so excited when they love your film? And that I realized, because they matter. It's as simple as that. Their opinion matters. Two things happened to me in Rocky Aur Rani. I was very stressed. I was coming after 7 years. And it was a sabbatical of 7 years for various reasons. And I realized, I was told that, as a head of a studio, as a director, if you fail, who's going to listen to you? Every other director will give you that look like, you yourself didn't manage, like, why are you giving us your opinion? So I felt it was very important that film would land and succeed.
There's a lot riding on it.
It was a lot. And I remember our scores from a survey engine were not very high. So there was a kind of a morale that was like a bit low around me. I felt a bit fearful of the eventuality. And there was a press screening happening, and there was a screening that happened. And I got a message from Anu at 10 p.m. And she said, look, this is not professional, but I had to walk out and she said some nice thing, and so she had some problems, but she said overall, like, I wish everyone has a Rocky in their life. And I was instantly joyous. She changed my mood, she changed my morale, she made me feel like I've done it. And I'm like, if she can incite that feeling in me, that means she matters. That means Film Companion matters. That means what everyone has done in this room matters. So how can I then not appreciate them when I have also hated on them when they've hated on my film? So I'm like, you have to realize it's like a marriage. It's a dysfunctional marriage, and it's going to eventually sometimes land up in a divorce court. But there will always be some alimony waiting. And that alimony will come in time. And I realized, like, it happened to me, Rahul's in the room. I remember, I don't think he has written too many good things about some of my films before. And he had liked Rocky Aur Rani, and I took his number. And then I felt shy to call him and say, like, thank you for liking the film, because I had felt so upset with him with the other previews, and I felt almost like fake and fraudulent that I said, now how can I call him and say, like, thank you for liking the film? But I felt so good when I read his review. I read it thrice. And I remember, and I was like, 1 minute, what's wrong with my film? Why has he liked it? Like, something's wrong. I should believe the distributor who told me, ye picture nahi chalegi, Rahul Desai ko achhi lag gayi. And I'm like, no man, like, it felt so good. Yeah. So I'm like, if you can have that feeling, and the one thing about Film Companion, I have to say, that they were always above board. Yeah. They always meant well. They were also cinema friendly. Like Anu said, they covered pan-India cinema. They actually brought people to the round tables who people like would never have invited otherwise. Because those are filmmakers who are behind the scenes. They're not in the spotlight. They're not in the limelight. Look, calling me is fine because I'm always like in your face. Like, the red carpet ends and begins with me.
You're also the most generous.
So I'm like, calling me is like calling like you're calling chana now, into like everyone, like, I'm like aloo, put me everywhere, like, literally, and I'll arrive. I'm working towards exclusivity. It might happen next year. But as of now, I'm like, calling me is okay, but like Anu in her round table. So everyone in this room have interviewed people who are genuine, solid filmmakers who have raised the bar of cinema, actors who have raised the bar of cinema. Film Companion was instrumental in that. And I don't want to diss anybody else, but they definitely, you have to give credit where it's due, and they definitely did that. So it genuinely, when they were shutting down, I was like, man, like, something felt sad. I felt like it was the end of an era in many ways.
In the age of the smartphone, in the age of doom scrolling and brain rot and rage bait, which is the new word of the year by Oxford, and where the algorithm is everyone's my-bab, is the reviewer still relevant?
I think we answered that question in the last couple of weeks, where the question of relevance was brought up on social media, and I think we shut that down with one quick review, clearly there's a reason the review matters, and it shook a lot of people,
Yeah.
opinions, and whatever it is. But that was a tough space for us to
We're all
navigate
gonna
as a
pretend we
team.
don't know
We're
what
going to
we're
pretend like we don't know what we're talking about, but we all do, and we've sort of held each other through a rather tough place only because it does matter. And I remember Anu calling me, and she was like, I'm just so sorry because, a lot of us took the hit for that review going up. And then she called me and she said, I'm so sorry, I did not realize this would happen. And I remember telling you what you said, Karan. There's a reason it matters, and you can't just expect the good reviews to be like. There's a reason she's relevant, we are relevant. And the truth is, Anu famously told us back in the day that she goes into every movie believing it's Sholay. And truly that is what she does, and that's what she's instilled in all of us. We go in believing that every movie is Sholay, and mostly it's not.
Yeah. And you live with that disappointment. But very well said. Of course, I was setting them up. It was a rhetorical question. The very fact that we are here celebrating this incredible book and FC's incredible journey is because, criticism is just as relevant as it was decades ago. But let's do, an end of the year exercise. What is that one movie all of you all loved watching this year that moved you, that titillated you, that tickled you, that you just simply couldn't stop thinking about? A movie that you loved this year. It could be from Hollywood, it could be from India, it could be from anywhere.
I mean, it didn't titillate me, but Homebound was that movie for me, and I got to watch it before Cannes at your screening room in Dharma with an AD just hovering above my head. But that movie really, really moved me.
Same.
So
Homebound
for me, for sure.
Yeah. Karan, Anu?
I have to say this, I'm sorry. Not because I love the film, but because of everything that transpired subsequently. But I love Dhurandhar. I absolutely love Dhurandhar. I was blown away by the craft. I was blown away by the use of music. I was swept by the performances. I was absorbed by the world and the universe created. And I walked out, and it happened to be with Sayyara earlier on this year, where I walked out weeping, like something was wrong with me. And I think I know what was wrong with me. It's like, you reach a certain point of stage where even men do menopause, and I'm emotionally menopausing, I think. So I think for the lack of a relationship in your life, when you watch a love story that connects with you, and I was like, oh my God, I love Sayyara so much. And I never thought I would like anything as much in the year. I can't speak of anything I've produced. Homebound, I was a mess when I saw Homebound. I remember I had like a puddle, like I was crying so much at the end, but I don't want to talk about my own produced film. And then Dhurandhar comes in on the 5th of December, and I'm like blown away by, it makes you feel like, oh, my craft is limited compared to this. Oh my God, look at the use of background music. Oh my God, look at the way, I found the film to be not, whatever anyone else may think is entirely their opinion, and I respect everyone's opinion. What I loved about Dhurandhar is I didn't feel that the director was self-aware. I felt like he wasn't trying to show off his craft, and yet it was seamlessly like telling you the story. I never felt he went wide or he went like, I'm going to show you a great frame. I just felt it was beautifully shot without self-awareness. So it made me question my ability as a filmmaker, and that's always a good thing for me as a filmmaker. I look at that with a positive lens. So I began the year loving Sayyara, ended the year loving Dhurandhar. Loved a lot, loved Loka, loved Loka. Went mad when I saw Loka. I was like, wow. I think these would be the 3 moments that woke me up as a filmmaker and made me feel something. So yeah, that was my story.
That's nice. I agree with all 3 of them. What about you?
For me, Loka. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the biggest high I had in a theater this year. That interval block when you figure out who she is, and the whole backstory of Neeli and all of that folklore is sort of revealed. I was just screaming in the theater. It was just fab, and that's what you want. Yeah. You just want that experience of being in a full house and just everyone being so excited. Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
A movie that you're dying to watch, but no one's making it. Is there a movie that comes to mind, a biopic of someone?
I'm dying to watch Jile Zara. If Farhan would ever just make it.
I want a Kuch Kuch Hota Hai sequel so bad.
Why?
Do you think we need a sequel to
No.
Kuch Kuch Hota Hai?
No.
No.
No. What happens? Baby Anjali grows up and does what? Like, does anyone really want to know? No.
So what is the movie you're dying to watch, but no one's making?
Actually, someone is making it. I've been dying to watch a love triangle because I love I love the layered complications of a love triangle. Like, I grew up loving some of the, like, for me, the original Andaz, then Sangam, are films I've absolutely loved. And now Bhansali is doing it with Love and War. And I can't wait to see it because I've always said, like, make a love triangle and, juicy love triangle. I think there's so much that you can do with, and if you layer it, and not the quintessential last act sacrifice. I'm like, if the layered characters, if they're all walking the path of grey and showing you, like, stuff that can really happen in relationships, the interdynamics of a love triangle, I think can be beautiful. So I'm waiting to see Love and War.
Sneha?
For me, it's more romance, and whether if it's Kuch Kuch Hota Hai or not. And I recently watched it on a plane ride back home, and it's aged really well. Just more romance back in the movies. And if Sayara is putting out that into the universe, then I really hope more love and more music.
And like just more music. Like,
Yes.
why have we stopped? Like, why is there so much
Sequel
logic?
to K3G?
Why not?
A
musical
maybe in the same world, perhaps.
That's what I mean.
Look, I don't know why. I think we need to kind of own our roots and kind of go back to lip sync songs a little
We
bit.
need to bring back the lip
Like,
sync,
I'm like, when I
please.
did it in Rocky or Rani, I did it because I have missed it so much. I love song and dance, man. Like that's what separates us from every other cinema in the world. Like, we have two things. We have song and dance, which are not we are not musicals. Firstly, we stop narrative and start a song. So we are not musicals. Everyone who says, oh, Indian films are musicals, no, we're not musicals. La La Land is a musical. It's very different from like other movies that have song and dances. We stop narrative, we sing a song, and we also have an interval. We break narrative. So that's why the second half, or rather the 3-act structure, doesn't apply to our cinema at all. So sit, feel won't apply to us. We have actually 4 acts. We peak twice. We peak, we interval, and then we come back. We have to rebuild, and invariably the second half suffers because rebuilding is tough. Because we put out all our, all our good stuff in the first half, and then we rebuild. So I think that in many ways, I think that song and dance has been compromised because logic is taking over, and everyone has real characters, and real characters don't sing songs. I get it. These characters have to stop being real now. After a point, like some of them we can be a little fantastical about. The sur, if you catch in the first frame, ek hota hai sur pakadna. You catch a sur, you can take it right to the end with complete conviction, and even the most hard-nailed critics will buy it because you're selling it with so much conviction, which is what happened with Sayara. It was one of the best reviewed films of the year. Everyone went with like the flow. I mean, he was singing with energy, and there was, of course, he was a rock star and music lent itself, but like everyone forgave, like the logics of the disorder. Like
Rahul Desai has watched it 5 times. Or
There
have
you
I
go.
lost count?
There you go. There you go. I mean, like that shows, like, that speaks of the love, universal love and acceptance that film had. And I'm like, please bring song and dance back. Like, no one is lip syncing songs. I feel so sad.
But you have to do it.
I'm doing it. You can't stop me now. In between, I was like, I want to make an action film with like high alpha testosterone. And I'm like, no, man, I can't do it. Like, mujhse hoga hi nahi. I won't know how to do blood on face and walk like in slow motion.
But
Mujhse
you
hoga hi
kill,
nahi.
no?
Huh?
You did kill also.
I can produce it.
Yeah.
Of course, I love to produce it, and I love making kill, but I can't direct a film like that. It won't happen.
Fair enough. But
So
do
I'm
you
like,
share this lament? Are you sort of mourning the
Absolutely.
loss of lip sync?
I love songs. I mean, Tum Kya Mile is still on my playlist, and I listen to it all the time.
Oh, you have no idea. When I was shooting that song in Kashmir, somebody looked at me and they said, like, you're looking mad. I said, why? They said, because you're smiling like a crazy child. And I was looking at that chiffon sari, poor thing
In
was
the snow.
freezing. And he was in his polo neck sweater, which is just wrong on so many levels because like she was not covered and he was. But I was like, no, this is my Yash Chopra moment. I'm living it. Like, I couldn't get over. I was doing a song in Kashmir, beautiful, stunning visuals. And I'm like, yeah, give me that drone shot, like put it out, like blow that sari, like literally, like I loved every bit of it. Like I was so excited.
As were we, and thank you, Karan. Thank you for bringing back the lip sync. We've all missed it for too long. Anu, tell me, in the years that y'all did FC, who's been the most difficult to interview, where you got nerves and you had to extra prep for that interview, and who's been the easiest, like a breeze to talk to? Same for
So
you,
extra nerves is always with roundtables
Okay.
because it's so many people and you have to remember so many sort of histories and filmographies and
Their schedules.
and quite that वो तो अलग बात है to
Entourage.
coordinate schedules and entourages. That is what Sneha is the queen of. But that's a whole different level of sort of logistics. And I'm just saying, just as a journalist, it's I think roundtables are the toughest thing we do.
Yeah.
Easiest is, of course, Shah Rukh, because you don't have to do any work. Or even Karan. I mean,
He's generous, no?
Yeah, no, and he knows what's
He reads
fun.
the room.
Yeah.
Karan just catches the sur of a room and knows exactly what to give you in that moment. It's true.
And even you loved interviewing, but
Shah
you were
Rukh is
freaking
a
out.
forever favorite. Honestly, I like now that he doesn't do press, I'm wondering why I do what I do. It's that level of amazing. And one of the hardest, funnily enough, was actually Salman Khan's bodyguard, because Anu has made me do all kinds of interviews
wow.
at Film Companion. I had this show called Cheat Sheet where I interviewed the other stars in the behind the scene artists. So one day I was interviewing a Foley artist, and it was a set food caterer, and I've done all of it in the 10 years at Film Companion. But Shira was quite interesting to interview because he showed up late firstly, but then he did give me my first million viewed interview as well.
Wow.
There's a lot of interest in Salman's bodyguard.
And Cheat Sheet, the show, is actually used in film schools because
Oh,
she
wow.
talked to so many like technical artists and all of that. So pretty amazing. But
But I
Shera
had
was
to.
the big hit.
Oh, wow. But I had
And
to.
Ranveer's private chef. If you guys haven't watched it, the chef Harsh came home and cooked us, my husband's here, an incredible breakfast. He just made eggs and oats, was it?
How
and
sweet.
it was amazing.
That's
Ranveer
amazing.
hired well.
But because you've been a lot of the behind the scenes work, the back-breaking work it takes to put a roundtable together, and because everyone's doing one now, is there a roundtable fatigue? Do you think there's one?
Yeah, we talk about this every year. Anu compares it to labor pains. Every December, we say this is the last time we're ever going to put a roundtable together because coordinating dates is just the death of us. But I just know that look that I'll get from her when we wrap the last roundtable of the season, which we did last week. And you just know that it's going to happen all over again. But I think the most favorite one we did was 2019 in Soho House at 12 a.m. in the middle of the night. We coordinated a 1-hour slot between Alia Bhatt, Deepika Padukone, Ranveer Singh, Ayushmann Khurrana, Parvati, Vijay Sethupathi, Vijay Devarakonda and Manoj Bajpayee.
Oh my God. 2019.
2019. That was really the golden roundtable moment for us, I remember. And you're right, everyone is doing it, but I want to believe we do it best.
Yeah, and y'all really, really, really do. What is one very irritating thing about the industry that you deal with, stars that you deal with, that you really wish they could say bye-bye to before going to 2026? And you can also chime in. About journalists, maybe. What is one irritating thing about journalists that they need to leave in 2025?
I mean, mine is very simple. Not journalists, really. I feel people who just do your interviews. You know, there is a way. You know, when I've done interviews all my life, and when you're talking, there are so many interviewers or members of the media who are looking. They're doing this and they're looking down.
Guilty as
at
charged.
the next question. They don't care what you're saying. Like they don't care. I could start talking to you about my sex life and they won't know. Like they are, and they're all looking and they're nodding, but they're not listening to you. And I'm like, as a talk show, and I can say this because I'm a talk show host
Of
as well.
course.
And I'm
The
like,
favorite talk show host.
and I'm like, thank you. But like, I love interviewing people. I'm curious. So I like to hear your answer and then ask the next question. And that's what a great interviewer does, or a great member of the media does. But there are so many who have come with their 5 and they want their 5 answers. But they're not listening to what you're saying. And you know, it can throw you off because you're like, you've done like, you know, and it doesn't happen like, you know, with the people who come researched or really care about your answer. You know? But they'll be nodding and then, and then they'll look at the next one. So that's the only thing that really is kind of like semi-annoying. Not completely, because I know they're also just doing their job. You know?
Wonderful. And what's one thing
Their
you
job
guys...
is to know their questions before coming in, na?
Yeah, but they pick up that phone comes out and like, you know.
But we've all got brain rot also, in doom scrolling entirely. But what's one thing you think we need to leave?
For me, I think it would be the entourages because I deal with a lot of it. So putting together a roundtable could actually be really easy if we didn't have to deal with the paraphernalia of putting together that roundtable. And when it's pan-India,
It's tough,
it's tough.
right? Anu, for you?
You know, for me, I still sticking to the subject of roundtables, I just feel like we're now at a point where so many of the real massive stars, they just don't want to sit with each other. You know, it's like, and to me, a roundtable is a sort of an archive of that year, of that moment in film, and that moment in a film industry's evolution, and who did well, and it captures so much. And now, nobody says to you, the first question they always say is, who else is on it? So it becomes a question of, is my positioning okay? Is this person on the same level as me or not on the same level? And I just feel like that's irrelevant. You know, you're there because you've done great work in the year and you'll be with your fellow artists. And I just wish that was not such a, I don't know,
factor.
block
Yeah.
in people's heads. And they do not want to sit with each other. I don't think we can do 2019 anymore. I don't think those actors are going to come and sit together, no?
The funniest thing is that reminds me, I remember, because I didn't realize it was such a big deal about, like, you know, where you're sitting in a round table, or for that matter, where you are on a magazine cover. You know, these things have honestly never crossed my mind. Because I feel like if you've achieved what you have, then you have to have that level of self-confidence. It doesn't matter where you are. And I remember I was doing a cover with lots of filmmakers, and everyone was very hyper, like behind the scenes, about, like, who do we put in the center? Like, you know, and I broke the entire, I think, mood of the room by saying, like, can you give me my left profile? I don't care where I'm, as long as I just stand like this. Because that's, Gautam Rajadaksh, God bless his soul, told me that, darling, not that it matters, both aren't very effective, but if you can avoid your right profile, like, you know, just sit left like this, all. So that was in my head, like, those days it used to be like, so I said, I don't care where I'm standing, just give me my left profile and make me stand at an angle. And like, it didn't matter, and everybody laughed, and like, it didn't matter who sat where. Like, it was so ridiculous. Everyone is a filmmaker for many decades. We worked very hard. Who cares about where you're seated? Like, does it really matter? And I realized that it was mattering to people, because there were instructions given behind about, like, I'll only come if I'm in the center. And like, it was like, okay, take the center, man. Like, how does it matter?
Yeah.
You know, it really doesn't. And I feel like I come from that space that I've never ever wanted or cared, am I on the front row? Am I best seated? Am I do have the best seat in the house? You will be given a seat if you've come to an event. Please give them the respect of not throwing that kind of tantrum about, like, where you're seated, or what you're, like, do you have the best suite in a hotel, or do you have the best, like are you getting the best service? So I would die of embarrassment before asking those questions. Like, I would never be able to. But I've heard it as a producer. I hear it all the time. Like, you know, so I know it. And I've also been a talk show host, so I know when I've told, like, oh, I won't come with X, but I'll come with Y, and X is not as big as me, and like Y, and I don't want to elevate Y by coming, and I'm like, man, like, this is ridiculous, but like,
It is what it is.
Yeah.
We live with it. Any questions that you all have? Please, Chintan.
Anupama, what are the questions that you wanted to ask but were not able to?
many, I'm sure. Many.
That's a nice question.
Like, why are you acting? Why don't you do something else? Get another profession.
Yeah, stick to the day job. You know, there's not. So you always have to, like, tiptoe around a few. At this point in time, obviously politics is something you kind of just genuinely avoid. So I'm okay to talk about personal life if it gives you an insight into the art. That's always my ambition, that, you know, if there's a way to kind of lead somebody to a place where they can talk about something they experienced because it then became a part of a performance or a film or something. But I don't think there's, like, any, like, specific questions that I wanted to ask, but, like, I could not, or, like, off the top of my head, I don't remember, you know, anything that really stayed with me, like, damn. You always later say, damn, I wish I'd asked. So we just had Neeraj on a round table, and I didn't talk to him about the Oscar thing. There were, like, you know, 7 directors. And then a week later, Homebound was shortlisted. And how amazing is that, guys? Come on, give it a round of applause.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely.
It's incredible, you know?
When the lights came on in the theaters, I was watching it in Delhi in Basant Kunj. There were people around me whose worlds looked like they were decimated. They were destroyed. It took us a good 10 minutes and nobody spoke. It was the quietest exit from a cinema hall I have seen in a long time because everyone needed to be in their feelings. And if you haven't yet watched Homebound, please go watch it. We're all rooting for it. We're really rooting for it. Any more questions in the row 3?
Which was the hardest chapter for you to write? Not from the perspective of how fussy it was, but when it demanded emotional honesty. And did any biases kick in?
So essentially, these are interviews. So I've not so much written them because the interviews were already done. Do I have biases? Of course. Like somebody at another, they asked, do critics have blind spots? And I was like, essentially, Shah Rukh, that's the blind spot, But emotional honesty, I think, is it's also sort of a give and take. It's like so I remember, in fact, interviewing Karan after Rocky or Rani, and that interview is in the book. And at one point, and you were so honest, because I think it was the first interview he did after the film's release. And actually, he said that he had gone underground till the film released. And I was like, damn, I didn't notice. I thought you were still very out there. And he's like, what, you didn't notice my minimalist mode?
I hadn't done any media. I hadn't been out to an event. I didn't even attend like any of the I was just very stressed. I remember, and then I don't know why, that's the problem that, I think I have to really, really vanish for a long period of time
Next
to go
year,
unnoticed. I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
Please don't. Exclusivity.
No, but in that interview, there was one point, I don't know why, you said something about, you were like, I'm so happy. Yeah. And it was such a...
I think I wanted to cry. It was the Monday of the release and I was so relieved. If you see that interview carefully, I think that I nearly did. I swear I wanted to just cry. Yeah. I was so stressed.
And at one point we were holding hands.
Yeah, I did. You did hold my hand. And I felt if you hadn't, I would have started weeping. I was really stressed. And I was like, oh my God, just chala do yaar. Picture ko chala do. I was like, jo bhi ho jaye, chala do. I don't want anything else, but this picture ko chala do. That's all I want. I felt like I need to walk into my office with my head held high. I just felt like, and I did. After that interview, I went to the office and they cut a cake and all. It was sweet. I was like, okay, chalo, now on to the next one.
That honesty is not always. I feel like, and I understand the reasons for it. It's becoming more and more manicured. It's becoming more and more, everyone tempers what they're saying with, this is only for me. Because there's so much fear that anything, especially on video, and I do video, can be just taken out of context and made into a reel or, just used in a way that's not nice. So I think, I know the reasons why we are in this situation. So it's always lovely when somebody opens up like he did. Yeah, I think you said to me, Sneha, that was a very Oprah moment. We were both holding hands.
Simi Garewal also, na, little bit.
More questions? Row 3 and row 4.
How much do filmmakers and actors watch interviews of other filmmakers and actors on YouTube? And do you learn a thing or two from them?
Having known so many actors so closely, sometimes actually I try not to see their interviews because I can sometimes, rather very often, I can actually see through it. Because I also know them very intimately, very well. Many of them are friends, are family, and I know why they're saying what they're saying, and I know what they really want to say. And so I know that some of them are so articulate, like Shah Rukh is, that he can he's the most. I don't think I've met a more intelligent man. Literally, I've met people across the world. I don't think I've met a more intelligent man. But I also know the Shah Rukh that used to say everything with abandon, and the Shah Rukh that now is not saying, because everyone is so worried about having a PR nightmare anymore. But I can see through, so I do see a lot of the interviews, but to me, I feel, I'd rather see of people who I don't know very well. I see those interviews of filmmakers I don't know. When I've seen some of Anu's interviews, Sneha's interviews on THR and Film Companion, it's invariably of filmmakers from another language, because I don't know them, and I have loved their film, and I want to know what they think and how they say. But people in the Hindi film industry, I try not to watch because I kind of know what the truth is.
We should do one of those trailer reacts where we get Karan to watch an interview of someone he knows and tell us what actually is going on.
Yeah, because I feel like it's, while I think it's an art form to be like, what is the word? Like, I want to say like projected honesty is also an art form where you're being honest, but also there's projection, because you also know where you're drawing the line, you know, because you know that beyond a point you can't. Look, all of us, if we express the bubbles in our head, we'd be in jail. Like, you know, we would be arrested for saying certain things, because I have a bubble in my head all the time. Like, you know, when I meet people at parties or on sets or in meetings, and so many times you want to just say the truth and you just hold back. You can't, because how do you tell a filmmaker or an actor the truth? No one wants to hear the truth, because in our industry, delusion is a disease with no vaccination, unfortunately. You know, Adar Poonawalla hasn't made that vaccination. And I really got into business with him hoping that, can we inject people so that they're not deluded? Like, you know, like they're not, how do you tell people like, man, that movie was really bad? Like, do you know it? Do you know it? Do you know you're behaving crazy? Like, you know, how do you say that to people? And like, we all have our struggles. Like, you know, when I was hearing about Anu and Sneha and their problem, I'm like, as a studio head, you don't know my struggles. I'm dealing with people all the time. Like 90% of our jobs in this business is dealing with people. Creativity is 10% of what we do. Yeah. 90% is just dealing with people. Like all we do, we're balancing egos, we're balancing morals, we're hand-holding, or we are showing the mirror, or we are hiding the mirror, or depending on the circumstance and situation. It's a tough place to be in. Like, you know, it's a tough place.
There was a question at the back.
Interviewing filmmakers and artists, is there any one insight that you think has changed the way you look at movies over the years? Or the way you watch movies now versus then?
You know, so in just before Thug Life, I did a really long conversation with Kamal Hassan. And he said to me, and this really made me think like, wow, that really felt like, you know, like that opened something, that he said, you have to remember all films are propaganda. So Yash Chopra was doing propaganda for love. You know, and I was like, wow. So he said, so it doesn't matter. You can't sort of hold that against a film, because every filmmaker and all art is political in some way. You know, so think beyond that, and when you look at cinema. And it's Kamal sir, so you have to go with it.
But there's such a lovely nugget, no? That just changes your perspective on how you look at cinema forever. Yeah. And that's a great question. We have time for one or two questions at best before we wrap. Person in blue here.
Hi. This is a question that probably a few of us would probably understand a little better, because it's a little insider question. But one interview that you remember was probably really tough to go through or absurd. I have one each for the both of you. But you
That's Venetia, who worked at Film Companion for many years.
But yeah, what do you think were like one or two people that you thought it was really tough to go through? And we knew this from the beginning, but there was something that really stumped you in that moment.
My favorite was when Salman Khan dove for Anu's feet the one time we interviewed him in Mehboob studio.
What is the story?
You want to tell?
This was during Star World, no?
Yeah. No, even the time he met us in Mehboob Studios.
For Tube Light?
Yes.
He touched my feet. So one time, I remember on the Star World set, he dove for my feet and I was like, Salman, what are you doing? He's like, aap buzurg hai na?
In jest. He was just pulling your leg. Literally
yes.
pulling your leg.
He is older than me, just for the record.
And one last question and we wrap. Yeah? You want to go?
That's Rahul, guys. He's edited a lot of the videos that you watched on Film Companion.
Hey, Rahul.
Yeah, I just want to ask, after all these years, what is the one thing that is still on your wish list that keeps you going? And hopefully we can look at that in the sequel to this book.
People on your wish list.
Not necessarily people, anything that is still on your career wish list.
So I really want Shah Rukh to start giving interviews again. Sneha will agree with me. someday. I want to speak to Diljit again. Yeah, he's just amazing. I love talking to him, and it's been a couple of years now. So I really, really hope that we get to do an interview soon.
Yeah, that was a very endearing interview. It's in the book.
I mean, if I'm manifesting, then something I really want to see is a Fahad Fasil Ranbir Kapoor cover.
That'll be nice. That gives us something to hope about and wish for. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anu. Thank you, Sneha, Karan, for being
Thank
here.
you, Chirag.
And for a very enthusiastic and lovely, delightful audience. Copies of the book are available outside. Anu's just going to sign them for you if you get a copy to her. Thank you.
And the bar is open.
The bar is open.